Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the NOLA Theater Talk Show. My name's Alan Smason, and thank you for being back with me. We've had a few weeks off. I was mostly out of town in July, and glad to be back, though, now. And we're starting up a new season of shows coming up for theater here in New Orleans. And so as a result, we're going to be starting up to talk about a lot of the seasons that are going to be happening coming up for different theater companies. We hope to have several people coming in the next few weeks to talk about their seasons as well. Again, we broadcast the NOLA Theater Talk Show over the NOLA Theater Folk Facebook group, on the theatercriticism.com Facebook page, and also on my own YouTube channel. So those of you who are out there checking things out, you know that if you're a member of the NOLA Theater Folk group, you get this live stream to you. That group is a private group, but you can join without any problem as long as you have some connection to the New Orleans theater scene. Also, if you're not interested in joining the group, if you're on Facebook, you can just go to the theatercriticism.com page that I mentioned earlier. And that is not the theatercriticism.com website, but it's the support page, the social media page, if you will, for the site. And we basically allow people to go on there, and you don't have to do anything in terms of joining a membership or anything like that. You just go to that site and you'll be able to see our broadcast live stream, or as I mentioned, on YouTube. And it does live stream, but then it takes about half an hour or so, and then it'll be archived, so you can go to the channel and watch any of our previous shows as well. Tonight, I want to say we're very pleased to have a person who's been in New Orleans for, it's getting close to half a century. But the maestro, as it were, Dennis Assaf, is going to be joining us in just a moment with the Jefferson Performing Arts Society. And we want to bring him into the room. But I will say something, and as I bring him in, Dennis was the very first guest on NOLA Theater Talk. So again, Dennis, we want to thank you for being our first guest and being our guest tonight. So, you know, you continue a string of shows, and we've done a few to talk about what you are doing at JPAS. And again, tonight we're going to be on only for half an hour. So, we want to sort of move on and talk about some of the things that are happening. But I should say right at the top, your company, if you will, JPAS, has been around. This is the 45th season. Did you ever think when you started it would be 45 years in terms of your legacy?
Well, honestly, I always did have the dream that JPAS, once we started in 1978, we would be around until after I die. Hopefully the legacy of the work that we've done the last 45 years would certainly continue. Yeah, I did have that dream.
Well, and again, you started off with small aspirations. First off, I know that when I was first exposed to a lot of what you were doing, you were at East Jefferson High School, and you kept saying to everybody, gang, we've got a really good facility here. And yes, you did. I mean, JPAS did very well. I remember when we had my mom still with us back then, we had Smith's Records, and we would sell tickets for you, etc. And you kept saying, though, East Jefferson High School, whatever we do, even if we put a pin in, you didn't do that yet at the very beginning, but you did eventually. Even if we improved it here, it's still a high school auditorium. It's not a dedicated theater with back wing space and ability to have storage and have different kind of flies and scrims and things of that sort.
Hot water.
Yeah. and maybe even a facility would allow a bathroom where you could actually not have to go outside to use the restroom, right? So again, it was in your idea, your vision, if you will. And I know you talked to a number of politicians, and they finally did pass legislation in the legislature to come up with what we now know of as the Jefferson Performing Arts Center. Right. On 6400 Airline Drive. Back when we first started, I think they still call it Airline Highway. Right. But tell me, you've been in that facility now. I know 2015 we had the American Theater Critics Association. I think you moved in 2016. Is that possible?
No, we moved in 2015.
It was 2015. Okay, so it was close.
7 years.
And the facility And that's a beautiful picture of the facility, Jefferson Performing Arts Center. You now have, after 7 years of waiting in 2015 to 2022, you got good news that the company that was managing it, and again, you had hoped to manage it from the get-go, but because of politics or whatever, they had other things that were involved. You did not have an opportunity to manage the facility from the get-go, but now you have been given the contract to manage the facility. And I must say, that's got to be very fulfilling for what you're doing as well.
Well, it's the 45-year dream finally come true. As you know, JPAS had the vision to even espouse the idea that a performing arts center was needed for Jefferson Parish. So that became our mantra 45 years ago, to be the catalyst to build a performing arts center. And yes, of course, if we were able to and fortunate enough to be successful and get this theater built, of course we want to manage it. Of course we want to control our destiny. And it just took a long time to convince the elected officials that, you know, we started from nothing, and they knew that, and they knew us when we were nothing. So for them to turn over a $50 million facility, it was hard for them to grasp it. But I think after 7 years of seeing the kind of work, of course, 45 years seeing the kind of work we've done, but especially the last 7 years of what we did in that theater, you know, bringing the Irish tenors, producing grand opera, grand ballet, musical theater productions that rival anyone's productions anywhere. They saw the product that we were putting on.
Right.
Finally, they put out the RFP for new management, and we competed against the current managers, and finally we were able to secure the contract. So now we have full control of the calendar, which doesn't mean that we're just going to be strictly doing JPAS events in there. We're reaching out across the country to bring in performances. That place is going to be action-packed. It's going to be full like you've never seen over the last 7 years. And that's going to make the parish happy. And that's what our pledge to them. And I feel 100% confident that we're going to be able to make this facility be the jewel in the crown, if you were, in Jefferson Parish.
Now, I have to ask, you've got you had a number of hats throughout the years. I think you had more titles than anybody else in town. You know, maestro, artistic director, executive director, and you've given up one of your titles now to Timothy Todd Simmons, correct? In terms
That's correct. Yeah, Todd has been with us now for about 2.5 years, and he has assumed the title of executive director, which frees me of all the administrative aspects of running the organization, so I can now focus 100% on the artistic product, and that too, quite frankly, has always been a dream. I've had to be the chief administrator as well as the chief artistic energy for the organization, which I've cherished and certainly enjoyed. But now that the organization has grown so big, and now that we have the new Performing Arts Center as well as the two facilities in West Wego, it was time for us to bring on someone like Todd to take care of the administrative aspects of the organization. So it's a good partnership.
And I'm glad you brought up West Wego, as you know, and everybody else who's been following it. That facility in West Wego, the Performance Art Theater, the big theater, has been damaged at least 3 times that I know of.
Right, the third time.
And
on August the 29th.
Right, and it seems like a bad day for that theater. But now, what's the progress, if any? Are we going to see that theater open up anytime soon?
No, we have no idea. It's it's dealing with insurance issues. It's dealing with FEMA.
Yeah.
It'll be out of commission August 29th, 1 year. After Hurricane Isaac in 2012, it took us 5 years to get it back in commerce.
And by the time they got it back together, all the seats that had just been put in had to be thrown away, basically, because of the mildew and the mold, et cetera. Yeah. Yeah. Well, anyway, let's talk a little bit about some good things. First off, one of the very first things I want to talk about is not an actual performance, but what's coming up at the end of August are going to be the auditions for the Nutcracker, right?
That's right. Yep.
And again, this is always a favorite for they have usually several different Nutcrackers that come in. What's special about yours? Can you tell people about why yours is more special than any others?
Well, it really is the purview of our ballet master and his wife, Kenny and Kim Beck, very creative people. Kenny has incorporated so many new things into our Nutcracker. We, of course, are using the set from the Kansas City Ballet that we bought from them. It's a big, beautiful set. But I think probably the thing that really makes our Nutcracker stand out is that we are one of the few that uses a live orchestra, that we don't use canned music. And that's always more inspiring for the dancers to dance with a live orchestra. And of course, the audience as well, to be able to feel the timpani and to feel the brass and the strings as well as, of course, and it instills that human element into the show. So it's just not canned, it's live.
Right.
You can't beat that anywhere.
And you have always stuck by your guns in terms of whether or not to put in more musicians for your orchestra, or to enhance perhaps the scenic design or do other things. You've always said that the basic foundation for what you do at JPAS is the orchestra, and sometimes obviously a chorus. What you all did with the Hunchback of Notre Dame, for instance, was just absolutely amazing. And
that's one of the brightest artistic moments of my life, was that Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah, just amazing. So anybody who got to see it knows what we're talking about. But I think you had 29. I'm trying to remember. It was like 22 people in the chorus, 29 people on stage, and a full orchestra. It was amazing.
It was a 34-piece chorus.
34 pieces. Okay.
Yeah. And a 30-piece orchestra. And then the rest of the cast was another 30 to 40.
Right. Yeah. It was
100 people involved in that production.
Pretty amazing. Well, now we're talking about some of the things that are going to be coming to New Orleans, and I wanted to sort of go over what your season is going to be like, because we only have a few more minutes left before we have to take a break. But I did want to go over, first off, the very first piece that I saw. Actually, you're going to be doing in West Wego at the Teatro Wego, which is the smaller of the two, and that's going to be the Sweet Potato Queens. And anybody who saw this originally, I saw it last year at Cutting Edge Theater in Slidell, and you happen to actually be there as well. And I remember I was fortunate enough to be able to get a picture of you with some of the creatives there, and if I'm lucky, I think I might have a picture that will be of worth. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. This is the lady who wrote this was Jill Connor Brown, right?
Right.
Now Jill is in the center. She's the tall lady there. Okay, then that's Sharon Vaughn on the left side, and then right next to you, Dennis, is Melissa Manchester, the wonderful singer, a friend of mine on Facebook. She's a very devout, fan of this musical that she wrote, along with a fellow by the name of Rupert Holmes. That people will remember Rupert Holmes. Maybe some of us will remember him for the Pina Colada song that they did, but most of us from Broadway will remember the Mystery of Edwin Drood that he did. That was so fantastic. So there you are, and not necessarily to be outdone. I did also get my moment in the sun with Melissa and Sharon and Jill as well. So I was there too. I think you might have taken that picture.
I think so,
yeah. But in any event, the Sweet Potato Queens. Now, anybody who knows the books, the Sweet Potato Queens, will know what it's about. But basically, they're kind of our neighbors. They're in Mississippi, right? And Jill wrote these books, and basically they're about these ladies who kind of sort of made their way in the world. Some of them were maybe a little older than some might have thought should be parading around doing some of the things that they do. Some of them were maybe they were a little bit more what we would call in Yiddish zaftig, you know, a little more pleasingly plump, as it were.
Uh-huh.
And we're proud of what they had that God gave them. And so you know, basically it's a humorous take on women having a sort of like a Mardi Gras crew. It's kind of what it is. They parade in this little town in Mississippi, and they were so intriguing to Sharon Vaughn and Melissa Manchester and Rupert Holmes. They wrote this musical about it. And again, this is a lot of fun. I guess you're going to encourage people to dress appropriately for the event, get really dolled up, etc. They have sequins and boas and stuff,
and big boobs and big booties. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know, it's
kind of a woman's empowerment movement, the Sweet Potato Queens, you know, and it attracts women and men, quite frankly, from all walks of life, all strata of society, who are not afraid of self-expression, and like I said, women's empowerment. So it's very funny. We'll have people who are going to come from all throughout the United States. They've got chapters all over the world.
Yes,
Sweet Potato Queens. And Jill Connor Brown will be there. So will Melissa Manchester. I haven't heard from the other lady yet.
Yes. Well, we'll see Sharon Vaughn and Potts. I don't think Rupert will be there, but you know, whoever shows up, they'll be warmly welcome, and they will have a lot of fun because nobody knows how to party other than, you know, maybe in this town of Mississippi as well as people in New Orleans and the environs here. So I think so. That's going to be September the 16th through October the 2nd, again at Teatro Ouigo. And then right after that, in the very first performance in the JPAS managed JPAC facility, you're going to have the first time, the regional premiere of In the Heights, Lin-Manuel Miranda's original Tony Award winning musical for Best Musical. Again, I know that you've been striving to get as many people in there as possible, and you were asking for an all Latinx cast, correct?
That's correct, and we did it.
Fantastic. Well, I mean, that's fantastic. Now that's going to run October the 7th through the 16th. Is that right? And again, as part of that, who's the for In the Heights?
Who is the what?
The director, Michelle Pietri.
Michelle Petrie.
Okay.
She's a native New Orleanian.
Okay.
She's of Hispanic descent.
Okay. And she's a choreographer too?
And she's the choreographer too, yes.
Okay, so that should be fantastic.
We also have Gabriela Vasquez, who is the dance captain. The music director is coming from New York, Richard Cordova, another Spaniard, and we just secured the services of Elena Poland, who is a Hispanic lady from New York. She's coming in to play the role of the abuela, the grandmother.
Well, it's a very important role, by the way.
Yeah.
And speaking, let's take a little quick break. I didn't get a chance to bring in my drink yet, but mine is a traditional martini with 3 olives. And this is, of course, gin, vodka, the way I like it, 2 parts gin, 1 part vodka, and half of a part of dry vermouth. And these olives, by the way, are I picked these up over at Sam's, and I don't know if you can see them. You might like this if you can see it. It's partly stuffed with jalapenos.
Oh yeah,
and garlic. So I'm appealing to those who like flavorful food and spicy food, etc., as well as the drink culture that we have. I didn't know what you brought in. What did you bring in?
When I drink my martinis, I like the olive stuffed with almonds and also anchovies.
So what do you have tonight? What did you bring in? Your drink.
No, I'm just drinking water. I'm still recovering from junk in my chest, so I'm trying to stay hydrated.
All right. Well, you know, both of us, by the way, had a little bout with COVID.
Yeah.
I'm glad to report I am fine. Part of the reason that I didn't come back and start doing shows right away was it took me a little while to get back up to speed. I was sleeping a lot, but hopefully both you and I will not have any problem moving forward. Now, tell me a little bit about Into the Woods Junior. When is that going to be?
That is going to be part of our Theater Kids production, and the performances are going to be late October. I don't have the exact dates yet.
Right.
this was something, we COVID not cramped our style 2 years ago with our summer camps. We had to cancel them. We had to release 12 of our employees, so that also affected the fall and the spring productions of Theater Kids. So now we're gradually rebuilding it back up, and Lynn Bordelon, who used to be our director of education, is going to be directing and choreographing Into the Woods Junior, and we'll be releasing information about that, how kids can audition for it. But we had a fantastic summer. This season we did Cinderella Junior and Legally Blonde for the high school kids, and it was so well attended, not only from a participation standpoint for the campers, but of course the audiences really are now demonstrating that they're tired of being locked up, and they're turning out.
Right. That's it right now. Everybody, I think, is fatigued out. Coming up around Christmas time, perfect show for this. It's a wonderful show, Irving Berlin's Holiday Inn. Now, I've seen the road show of this. I saw it on Broadway, but I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time that this particular musical is actually coming to New Orleans. Am I right on that?
I believe so.
Yes.
And I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea. It's not coming to New Orleans. We are producing it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, but and when you say New Orleans, I mean the greater New Orleans area. Obviously, it's coming to Metairie. It's going to be going at the big stage. And again, the date for that is going to be. I'm looking right now.
Weekends of December
2nd to the 11th. And Leslie Castay, our wonderful director and actor, and long Broadway veteran. Yes, she's going to be directing. So that's pretty interesting as well.
Kenny Beck is going to be doing the choreography along with Heidi Molnar, because it's a big tap show, So we've got some great leadership in that production.
I have to ask. That's the last show of 2022. Can you tell me a little bit about the show Sisters, which I assume you're going to be doing this around the same time for Black History Month, correct?
That's correct, yeah. Sisters the Musical is an off-Broadway production that I discovered. It's basically a jukebox musical. There are 4 Black women who are mourning the death of Grandma, and they go into the attic to reminisce and pull out artifacts, and they reminisce about Grandma, and they sing all the songs that are popular by Black artists, from Motown to Aretha Franklin, Beyonce, etc. And there's also a role in there for one white woman who happens to be a sister-in-law to the 4 ladies. She's married to the brother of the 3 of them are sisters. One of them is the daughter of one of the ladies. So it's basically a feel-good jukebox musical of all very familiar stuff. And Keon Davis, who is directing and choreographing Sweet Potato Queens, will also be directing Sisters the Musical. And Robert Pate, who was our music director for Dreamgirls a few years ago, will be music directing for Sisters the Musical. And this is our offering for Black History Month. And I also want to go back to In the Heights is our offering to commemorate Hispanic Heritage Month. September 15th to October 15th is Hispanic Heritage Month. Mm-hmm. So we're
well, you can always do Fiddler in May when it's Jewish Heritage Month.
Yeah. I'm thinking about doing that again. So,
yeah, well, you did a great job of Fiddler, and of course, unfortunately, I think, as I recall, Judge Sal Gothard of blessed memory was your. I'm trying to remember. I think he was the.
Was he Laser Wolf?
I think he may have been Laser Wolf. Yeah. So anyway, but all right. So
Jeremy.
So now we're gonna get into the 2023 season after Sisters, which we mentioned, and that's gonna be the first thing, Agatha Christie's Murder on the Orient Express, which always has a wonderful cast. Now this is adapted by Ken Ludwig. Now Ken Ludwig, some people may say I've heard that name before. Wasn't he the one involved with Lend Me a Tenor and the Comedy of Tenors as well? Yes. Yeah. So Comedy Tenors was the one that was a follow-up, I think, to Lend Me a Tenor.
Right. You can't do Lend Me a Tenor anymore.
I know it's politically incorrect.
Yeah.
Because of several things that are problematic with the script, but
right.
It was a very funny piece. You know, in these days, we are not able to. You know, there's a lot of people who are taking Mrs. Doubtfire to task and Tootsie to task, etc., because men were dressing up as women, etc. But you know, there are things that still. I mean, I remember there was a musical called Charlie's Aunt, if you remember, that they did,
right?
Which again, a very funny musical, and there are things that can still be considered funny, but so people are a little bit tired of it, and you know, they take people to task for some of those things that they deem as politically incorrect. Now, Murder on the Orient Express, I have to say, that's going to be directed by a very young, inexperienced director, right?
Right, yeah. the grande dame of New Orleans theater, Janet Shea.
Yes, the queen of New Orleans theater, as I like to say.
Yeah.
The first lady, if you will, of theater. But unfortunately, she's not with us right now. But you know, the next half of our show, I fully expect her to join us. So maybe she will join us a little early. You never know when that happens. But she's going to be coming in to talk with her daughter Jennifer about what they're going to be doing. Let's wrap up the rest of your season after Murder on the Orient Express. And Murder on the Orient Express is going to be located in the
Performing Arts Center.
Performing Arts Center. It's the big one. So people thinking it's going to be a small production. It will not be. And Janet did a great job. I'm pretty sure with a couple of things, but I remember she did the didn't she do the one with the
Arsenic and Old Lace?
Arsenic and Old Lace, yes.
Yeah.
Arsenic and Old Lace.
She did direct that. She starred in it.
Yeah.
But she directed Cuckoo's Nest.
Cuckoo's Nest, which was also there about a month or so ahead of time before that one, right? That was like in January, and then the other one was in March. Right. Anyway, so Janet's going to be doing that, and then I've never seen the show. This is the first time. This has got to be a New Orleans regional premiere again. Misery, right. The play, of course, based on the Stephen King story, and of course everybody knows the movie, which will give some people the creeps if they haven't seen it.
Right.
This is, I assume, just a two-person show for the most part. Person. They have a third person.
You have the author, who is held captive by the lady, who's a big fan of his novels, and then you have the sheriff, who comes knocking on her door, looking for this missing man that she is squirreled away in her back bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be performed by the sheriff is going to be performed by David Haydell, who you just recently saw in Death Trap, and also Reagan Lincoln, who you also saw in Death Trap, will be playing the lady, and this time her husband Eric Lincoln, who you saw as the Lurch character in
the Addams
Family.
Yeah.
And he also was the violinist in the Comedy of Tenors.
So now, and that's going to be presented
that's in Teatro Ouigo.
At Teatro Ouigo, March 23rd to April the 2nd. And Murder on the Orient Express, which we mentioned earlier, was March 10th to the 19th. And your season ends, appropriately enough, this is the first time I've seen you do Rodgers and Hammerstein in a long time.
Right.
I can't even remember, but you're doing Carousel, which I think is a wonderful show. 1945, and for your 45th year, 1945, a show was perfect. And again, big lush orchestra. The ballet portions are going to be done with Ken, or is it going to be somebody else you're going to have on that one?
No, we're going to cast it. Donald Jones Jr.
Okay,
who is going to be directing the show, and
he's choreographer. Yeah, okay, and he's from New York, right?
He's from here, but he recently was in the cast of Anastasia or Aladdin. Aladdin, I get the two confused.
I think Aladdin, maybe, yeah.
It starts with an A.
Yeah. Well, look, you got a great season. And
Don't forget we're ending with the Grand Ballet, Romeo and Juliet.
That's the last thing, which I don't have a slide for, but yeah, Romeo and Juliet will be your last show. And again, a full storybook ballet, which is very rare to see in this town anymore. All right. Well,
So
you know, Dennis, I'm still waiting for Jennifer to show up. She was supposed to be in about 10 minutes ago, so I guess we'll keep talking until which time that they show up. But I'm sorry, you know, I asked her to check in with me a little bit earlier. We had some comments. Let's see if we get anybody. Somebody talked about Melissa Manchester again. By the way, anybody wants to have their comments put up so you can see your name, you need to go to https://facebook.com/StreamYard. And the reason why is that Facebook won't allow anybody just to go on and put their comments on. So when you put up the comments, keep that in mind. Let's see what else we have. I think somebody said they saw Paul Bello got his script. I don't know which one that's for. And we also,
he came today and picked up his script. Well, thank you for the congratulations.
Yes, no problem. I sent Jennifer, I think she's trying to, how do we get in? She's here. What do I do? Okay. Use the link. I sent you a link. Use an email link that I sent you, and you should be able to come into. The email was sent at 7:15 this afternoon. Jennifer, you should be able to just open up your email and click on it, and it'll bring you in. So there you go. That's the way you did it, right, Dennis? It was pretty simple, right? Yeah, the email goes out. The link is in the email. You click on the link opens up a browser. The browser brings you in, and then you're in the show when I see you. Last one is, okay. I'm not sure what this, I'm here. How do I get activated? That might be her. I don't know. She's not in our room. She must be in another room. But I'll send her a picture of the link, I guess. I guess I can resend it if she needs it. It's kind of a weird thing. Hopefully everybody will not mind me sending it again. Do the invite again. I'll send it to Janet too. Why not? See if Janet can get it, and Jennifer. It was sent to Storytime Players, in case she was wondering. I guess I'll send it to her other one now. I thought she was using that one. Anyway, there they go out. That's the invitations going out again. So she'll get in. So long and the short is you've got a long season coming up, starting very soon. Auditions first off, end of August for Nutcracker.
Right.
Sweet Potato Queen's going to be the first of the shows on the West Bank. In the Heights going to kick things off right after that. You've got a slew of directors, and many of these directors, the first time they're actually directing at JPAS, right?
Let's see.
Actually,
no. The only first timer is the lady coming from Massachusetts to direct Misery.
Oh, really? Of course, I know Janet and Leslie have directed before, but I was thinking, has
Donald Jones did God of Carnage for us.
Oh, okay. You know, I'm thinking musicals, right? Okay, all right.
And he was in the production of Fly, if you recall that, Donald Jones.
All right. Well, look, I appreciate you being with us. I think Jennifer has made the scene, so I'm going to let you run on. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Always a pleasure, my friend.
All right, take care. And again, thank you, Dennis. Dennis Assaf, everybody. As we say goodbye to Dennis, we're going to welcome in Jennifer.
Hey, thank you, Dennis. Thank you so much.
I was hoping to have your mom come in when I mentioned Murder on the Orient Express, but for some reason it didn't happen. So there you go.
It was my fault because you and I usually communicate via my personal email and not Storytime, so I didn't check that one for the link. That's my fault.
That's okay. That's all right. So Jennifer, you are here, and we also have your mom, as we mentioned, Janet. Yes, but we're going to keep up with Jennifer there. 1 and 2. There we have. And again, I wanted to let everybody know that you are going to be leading the charge, as it were, on the West Bank for a new endeavor that a lot of people are applauding you. You know, you've actually taken the bull by the horns. Basically, we've got plenty of placards, so you don't have to worry about that one. But the main thing is that you are attempting to fill in the void that has been left with I would say the closing down of Teddy's Corner, and several of the things that we used to see, a lot of children's theater, Nord, etc., that we don't see much, and so what you're doing is you're attempting to fill in a void for theater that has been missing. And again, for those of you who are interested, this is the Story Time Players. And again, the first thing you're going to do is Jack and the Beanstalk. And as you can see in the lower left-hand corner there, written and directed by Uncle Wayne Daguerpont, which of course everybody knows Uncle Wayne. And again, we'll talk a little bit more about him as well. We've had some interesting times with him on this show because sometimes he's technologically challenged sometimes, and sometimes he makes it into the room and talks, and sometimes he doesn't quite make it, and we always talk about him. So that's another story. Now again, I am for those of you who know me, know I've been around theater for a long time. But your dad was really a long veteran of theater. And again, this is a picture that you sent me that I gotta ask. Now, how about, where was that? Do you know where that was at?
Oh my gosh. I think it might have been Gallery Circle.
No, that was children's.
She thinks it was Children's Corner, but I don't remember that chair. I might have been in the back. But they took me to so many plays over the years, and my dad said that I would stare like that. See how I just stare into it? And I become part of the stage, and I call myself a professional audience member because I'm not an actor, even though I've done some stage work. But I just appreciate talent so much. I really do. And my dad said, you were out of the three children, you were the one that just loved it. I could take you to anything and you'd sit there and stare into it and just be absorbed. And I want to bring that back to younger children. It was there for me, and I just feel like they need to have the same opportunity,
Well, again, you come from rich stock, you got your mother and your dad, and a lot to be proud of on both cases. And again, everybody knows your dad was the theater critic, which I'm now thankfully taking his place, trying to fill his shoes. David Cuthbert was on for a couple of years, but he was on for 23 years. I've got a long way to go before the 23-year record gets broken. I got to show you that.
Yeah, you're doing a great job. I enjoy watching you. You do what I admire about your work is that you do the research so well. And my father was the same way. He would do a lot of research and read biographies every weekend, and he would come so prepared with tons of notes and lots of information. And I see that in your work too.
Well, I try, but I have to tell you, you don't get in this business very far if you don't do your back rub, you don't do your homework. And I believe me, a lot of times I will be the first person to say, mea culpa, I made a mistake. And I try to avoid that. But we've only got a little bit less than a half an hour to the show. Sure. So I wanted to go into a little bit. First off, where is this stage actually?
Isn't it strange? Let me tell the story really quickly. Let me tell you a story. Since we're Storytime Players, I'm going to tell you a story. So I work at Flirty Girl part-time, and I have been wanting to do this since 1991. If you remember, Elliot Keener had the Rose Dinner Theater on the West Bank, and it closed. And I wanted to do it back then, just bringing some theater to the West Bank because that's really where I was raised. I did most of my social life in New Orleans, but our home was there. And so I was talking to a lady named Helen Williams, who is on the financial council at St. Joseph Church. And I was saying, I'm looking for a venue that is small, that is cozy, that little children can come in and see a show. And she said, well, let me find out from Father Gary from St. Joseph Church if they'd be willing to let you use a facility. So I went and met there, and they showed me the gym, which was huge. And so I told her, I said, well, this was kind of different. At Le Petit, we used to come into this smaller theater, and we had little Swiss chairs, and the kids sat in the front rows, and the parents sat in the back, and it was just smaller. She said, well, you might want to see our auditorium upstairs. I said, really? You have an auditorium? She said, yes, it's upstairs. We use it for meeting rooms. So I went up there, and it's practically perfect. I sent you the picture, you saw it. It's just the size we need. They don't have terrific lighting yet, but we have a sound guy coming in, and we have a little bit of wing, and it's just small. It's a small play. So we have space, and I brought Wayne in there, and he walked it, and he said, "This is terrific." He said, "This is a great place to do it." So we're bringing it to the Gretna, historic Gretna.
And the address again is
610 6th Street. So it's behind the church. So there's no physical address because it's part of the school. But we will have signage that leads you around to the theater. So it's behind the church on 6th Street. On 7th, actually, 7th and Newton, behind the church. But you'll see signs. We're going to have it all signed.
Newton is the main drag there, where the post office was, where the cultural center is now.
That's Huey P. Long.
That's Huey P. Long. So what Newton is where? Then
Newton is to the right. It's parallel to Huey P. Long.
It's parallel. Okay. All right.
Yes.
So I know it's one of the main drags there. And we talked about Wayne. This is a picture. It's not a great picture, but there's Wayne in the center there. I mean, I don't know if you can see it. He's got the, I guess that's everybody going a read through.
This is our first rehearsal, and you see to the left of Wayne is Caden Pecoraro, who just came from Rivertown Theater playing Michael Banks. And then to the right of him is Danielle Blanchard. She's a puppeteer. And to the right of Danielle is Ashley Abear. She's our sound director. And then if you go across from Wayne, the blonde with the glasses is Ashley Betts. She's playing the harp witch. To the right of her ahead is behind us is Mary in the red shirt. She's Mary Rainigal. She's playing a puppeteer. And to the left, I can't really see because their head's behind is Stephen Denning. I don't know if you're familiar with Stephen Denning. He's playing a police officer. So, and also Isabella Bagnetto, which I wanted to mention, is my cousin. So she's my mother's niece, and she does stage work at St. Martin's, and she was interested in being in this production. And so I knew that she had the chops. So she is cast as Leanne, and Chevis Davini is playing Charlie, and Sherry Watney, who's done some stage work, is playing Jack's mom. And I want to make sure I said his name correctly. Matthew Rayetz is the peddler, and he's phenomenal. And he brings his circus performer talents to the stage with the juggling and just his demeanor. I just love him. He's very vaudevillian. We're bringing that kind of style back to the show. And and Karen Bradshaw is the voice of the Singing Bird. So we are on a recorded track. Wayne Gonsolin did our music. And we have a return to Mother Goose. I don't know if you remember in New Orleans, there was Mother Goose. And Mother Goose is played by Judy Oquin and Judy LeBlanc. And they're going to be kind of our the people that introduce the show in the beginning. They're going to.
And this is the lady who's doing the voice of the
That's Karen Bradshaw. Yes. Yeah. Phenomenal. Beautiful voice. And so she's playing the dainty singing bird. We have 5 puppets in this production. And again, it is made for families 3 to 93. It's fun-filled, musical. Our sets were designed and done by Jennifer McGinnis and Crystal Robertson. And it's a community effort, and the community is embracing us, and they're loving it. And we got a lot of sponsors that came through to help fund it. And we're going to see it. Oh, the giant. Well, it's Uncle Fred, and his name is Adriel Albiles. So I don't know if I pronounced his last name correctly. Aviles.
Aviles?
I don't want to mispronounce his name, but I'm going to tell you why. Because it's the cocktail hour.
Oh, yeah. I didn't ask you what you brought in.
Look what I'm drinking in mine out of.
I'm looking right now. I can't make it out. What is it?
The Beverly Dinner Play.
Oh, the Beverly Dinner Play. Oh, my goodness.
I brought it to have cocktails with you tonight, Alan.
That is wonderful.
Isn't that wonderful? I was there backstage with Frank Bennett, working costumes at the Music Man. My mother played the mayor's wife in that show. That was the last production before it burnt down. So I brought this tonight to have cocktails with you. It's cranberry vodka. And Mom is having hers in a little petite glass.
And Store Boone says, "Give that back." So I don't know. Now this, by the way, is a very unusual martini glass. You know why this is unusual? It's a Nick and Nora. They call this Nick and Nora. If you ever saw The Thin Man, they always were drinking what looked like small martinis. These are not small. They look small, but they have the the effect of a regular martini, not small in any shape, but they're just designed to appear that way. And in the movies, I used to say they can't be drinking 6 martinis. Yes, they were drinking 6 martinis.
Look, I have a Pinterest page of people that I wish I'd go to dinner with in my life, and William is on that list.
Yes.
Dr. Marks. I would love to have a table full. I have a whole table of imaginary people I'd love to have dinner with.
Well, they're not imaginary. They were here. They're not just here anymore, right?
I would love to. Like, maybe when I go to heaven, I can have them all at dinner. And William Powell's on that list. Clark Gable, he's up there. Yeah.
I'm actually reading the biography of Susan Marks. Susan Powell. I think it's Susan. I'm trying to remember her last name, but anyway, Susan Marks. She was the one who married Harpo. It's called Speaking of Harpo. Yeah. So and it was written, co-authored with Robert Bader, who's considered probably the most authoritative author on the Marx Brothers.
How do you like it so far? It's good.
Wonderful. It's really great.
Wow.
Yeah. And I also, because I wanted to go back and reminisce a little bit more and get really more. I actually went and bought a copy of Harpo Speaks as well, which is the Harpo Marx autobiography that he wrote with another author. So I'm gonna be full up on Harpo and really delving into it. But Robert Bader and I know each other. He liked the review I did of his book, which was I think For the Three Musketeers was what it was called, and it was a definitive biography of the Marx Brothers, and he liked my review so much he put it on his own website. So I have to say,
that's
pretty impressive. And he's considered the top-notch guy. In any event, let's go over a couple of the. You sent me lots of pictures, and I think the kids are the most important part of what you're doing, right? And so there's one. Now, is she taking part in the group?
That is Isabella. That is my cousin Isabella. She is playing Leanne. Isabella.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to ask, you just tell me who these people are. I'm going to bring in now.
Okay, so
are those wigs or is that a dog?
That is actually a cat. It's one of the cat puppets. This was at rehearsal. These are rehearsal shots. They're not really promo shots. We haven't done those yet. But you'll see Uncle Fred is petting one of our cat puppets. Isabella, who is Leanne, is admiring, and then Charlie, played by Chevis Davini, is standing there. This is Matilda the cow. This is the puppet that gets traded for the beans from the peddler. Remember I don't know if you're familiar with the Jack and the Beanstalk story, but they don't have any money, and they need money. So Mom sends Jack, you have to sell the cow. So he goes to market to sell the cow, and a peddler intercedes and persuades him to take these magic beans.
So I know you all were at the farmers market.
Yes.
What were you doing? Performing? Were you performing?
Well, it was Community Awareness Day. As you know, we're a brand new group. So we're trying to get the word out. We're trying to get everybody to know that this exists. A lot of people, Alan, were confusing us with a kid camp because there was a hole in the market. So we couldn't compare it to anything because you have an entire generation of people that don't know anything about it. So they said, is this a kid camp? No, it's actually professional actors performing fables and fairy tales for children and families. So this was Community Awareness Day, and that is Ashley Betts, who is playing our harp witch, and she's doing face painting there. We had some cast members out there and some of the children, and we gave out some theater cards and just letting everybody know who we are. And it was a very successful day. And Matthew, again, who's playing the peddler, is also a stilt walker and circus performer. There's Uncle Wayne. To the left is Katie Hand. She is a board member. And to the right is Jana Young, who's a board member and also our graphic artist that's designing our special playbill. Even our playbill is for children. And I don't want to give too much away. It's very special. So kids will come in and they're going to get a special playbill that's made just for them.
So, and will they have any face painting at the theater as well, or
no? We don't have really a lot of time for it because we have a 1 o'clock show and a 3 o'clock show on the weekends. So it's going to move at a fast pace.
I got you. And then this is, I think, a picture of you with some of your staff, right?
With all the group and family members that came by, and then you could see Ashley doing a little photo bomb in the back. And we were just having a great day, meeting everybody and handing out cards. And look, it's been a grassroots. I mean, we're talking walking into stores. I felt like the Fuller Brush man, going from store to store. We're looking for sponsors. We're looking for people to help us get this going. It's a community effort. And I'm telling you, we raised the funds to do a lot of the production. And so now we just want to see, does the community want this? Do they want this kind of theater for their children? And will they bring them? And so tickets are on sale at www.storytimeplayers.com. And that's where you get your tickets. And the calendar is up there. We're doing 12 shows. We also have 2 days on the Thursday the 15th and Friday the 16th at 11 o'clock for school field trips, where the teachers come free. It's a $5 reduction in price for the kids, so it's $20 per child. But they're there for the show, and they also get an educational component that is an add-on. They get to Q&A with the actors, take a tour of the puppets, and look at how the puppets are constructed and made. And that's going to be Thursday and Friday for an 11 o'clock show for schools. So we have many shows, so there's plenty of opportunity to bring your children. I also mentioned on September 11th is Grandparents' Day. So any grandparent that wants to spend the day with their grandchildren, come on out, see a show. We have a 1 o'clock show and a 3 o'clock show. Lots of space. It's 100 seats in the room. We are keeping it cozy. It seats 140. I don't want to do it that way. I want comfort. I want everybody to have a good time and have space. The kids get the front. So any children that want to be in the front, so they don't have to stand up or have somebody obstructing their view, they can sit in the front part of the theater, just like Teddy's Corner, and the adults sit in the back. So that's kind of our groove there.
All right. So this is the first production.
Yes.
All right. How many are you planning for this coming year? Have you got any idea yet?
I would love, look, I'm crossing fingers.
Right.
I've been talking to Vatican Loki and Edward Cox about doing Rapunzel, because they wrote that show years ago. They did it in 1993, and I don't think they've done it since. Also, Sharon O'Brien gave us her blessings to do any of her shows that she ever wrote for Le Petit. And so I'm appreciative. I mean, they're coming out of the woodwork saying, listen, if you want to go ahead and do our show, we will give you the material to do it, because these children need to be exposed to see, and it was such good work. I mean, I love the work. Freddie and Lewis, they were just so wonderful. And Paul Werner is one of our advisors for Storytime Players, which is great too, to have him. He's going to be working the second weekend and the school field trips for us in-house, because he wants to be around it. And I'm just hoping that it has that same spirit that was there back when I used to go with my dad and my mother so many years ago.
There were so many shows that came on a Nord, and I think about a lot of the Ricky Graham things, the Freddie Palmisano pieces.
Ty Tracy.
But none of that, Ty Tracy, of course, obviously, and Robert Bruce and all that he got involved with. But I mean, I remember like the Trial of the Big the Bad Wolf and Cinderella Battistella, the David Cuthbert, I think was involved with. All those wonderful shows that the kids of today have never been exposed to. And we just don't have, we had that repertoire that we don't see. So I'm glad you're doing Jack and the Beanstalk, but I sure hope somewhere down the road we can resurrect some of those performances.
That's the goal.
That would be wonderful.
And then I feel like this. Like, I love JPAS and I love all the other, I see you everywhere. We go to a lot of things. The same thing.
That's true.
To me, this is the seed. This is where you start them. You let the young children come in at age 3, like I was, and you let them see these very quick hour and 10-minute shows. Look, the bathrooms are in the same room. I mean, it's very inclusive. And then that gets them to want to do the larger shows and more shows and the bigger shows and the bigger audiences. I mean, it's the seed. And I just think that we need the seed so that it can feed into all of these other theaters that have a bigger venue and bigger productions and larger. And that's how it was with me. Same way. So
how's your mom back there?
My mom's listening. I'm talking about seeds, and she's thinking about beanstalks. She's ready.
I'm just not ready for the camera. You understand?
Not ready for your close-up tonight. When you're talking about seeds, she might be like the resolute oak. Spreading. And again, have to say that she doesn't seem to be slowing down at all. I did have a wonderful picture that was not as young as the one that you had before that I showed, but here's one that I everybody loved this the other day that we put it on Channel 12. Yep, and again, I think he'd be very proud, to see the work that you're doing and to know that you're kind of passing it on and
look, I'm being very honest. I raised 2 daughters. One's a lawyer, one's in dental school. I gave everything to make sure my children were adequately educated and on their way. Not missing too many plays, though. We always went to theater, but for me to just do what's next, right? And so I was a Girl Scout leader for 10 years. I was a PTA person. I was a school board president. So I've been around children for so many years. And now I have the time to be able to give this and make this. And that's why I think it's going to do really well. And the show is adorable. It's so cute. And it's all original music and it's funny. I mean, it's everybody's going to like it. It doesn't matter how old you are. But again, it's for me a beginning for a lot of children. And I can't wait to see their faces when they come in.
Well, the reason I was going to ask you to talk to your mom, didn't she just have a birthday?
Oh, I did.
I have to do it. Here we go. This is the Janet segment.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, First Lady of New Orleans Theater.
Oh, yes.
Happy birthday to you. Anyway, yeah. And we raise our glass for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Anyway, Jennifer, you got your mother supporting you. You got all these other people behind you supporting you. Uncle Wayne, all right, you're gonna have to deal with him. What the heck?
I love him. He and I are both cartoons. We get along.
Anyway, and so he, he always has a wonderful attitude towards working with everybody. So this is going to be a lot of fun. I hope that we can get. I know that there was another comment. So let's see what that one is. I have all of Lila's children's plays and music.
Wow!
Oh,
wouldn't that be?
That would be wonderful.
The Frog Prince. Did she do that one?
I don't know, but and I was just thinking about poor Cynthia. Another one of those people that we've lost through the years. Lila too, of course, now, but we had such a rich history, and the talent that we've lost. I mean, you mentioned Elliot Keener before. Just so many people who were but they all started at Nord and places like that. Teddy's Corner. Brian Batt, started off doing work at Nord. And even people like Peggy Scott Laborde worked at Nord. I don't know that they had starring roles all the time, but it's always a big start. So you never know what's going to happen, what's going to come out of getting children exposed to theater. And again, they use their imagination. They become a part of a team, and so yes, absolutely. So we'll see what happens.
I like to say this too. I like to say, and Beth Utterbach and I had a conversation about this the other night, is that not every child wants to throw a ball. There's some children that don't want to throw a ball. Some people would like to be on stage or pick up an instrument and play. And then there's some that like both. And so I still think we need to have this avenue for those kind of children that maybe don't want to be involved in sports, or they like sports and singing. We just have to have an avenue for these children too, to be able to come and watch the show, see what goes on with the professionals, and be able to really get a close-up eye. They get to meet all the actors after. Remember, you go in the lobby after and get autographs from all the actors. I love that. If Goldilocks was in the lobby, I was running to go find Goldilocks. And in the back of the playbill, it's going to have an autograph section where the kids get to get their signatures. And the way we're blocking the cast, they'll be there in line, almost kind of like a Soul Train line, where the kids can go down with their autograph book and get signed. So it's really going to be, like I said, the theater belongs to them. And that's
Jack of the Beanstalk opens. What's the date of the opening?
September 9th, Friday, September 9th, and we run through the 18th, and all the information's on our website.
All right. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Janet. I do appreciate it. We're going to let you get on out of here. And again, thank you. happy birthday again. We hope that everybody has an opportunity to go over to Gretna and see what y'all are doing. I'm gonna take y'all out of the room real quick while I say goodbye to everybody. So just stick around for a little bit. And again, everybody, please keep in mind that next Monday, a week from tonight, we're going to have Mike Mitchell for the New Orleans Theater Association on our show. He's going to talk about what the New Orleans Theater Association has been up to. They're beginning to ask for grants again. So those of you who are in the theater community and are looking to possibly put in an application for a grant, tune in next Monday, find out more about that. We'll also be discussing the full Sanger Theater season, which I had hoped to have David Skinner on, but he's unavailable right now. But hopefully somebody from the Sanger may be able to show up. But if not, I have seen all the shows except for one. So I can tell you all about them and tell you why they're worth seeing, or perhaps why they need improvement. But for the most part, I think it's a really spectacular season that the Sanger has. Mike Mitchell will be here to talk about it from the New Orleans Theater Association and yours truly as well. So on behalf of the NOLA Theater Talk Show, again, my name is Alan Smason. I appreciate you being with me. We will be back next Monday. And again, you can see this streamed on the NOLA Theater Folk Facebook group, on our theatercriticism.com page, and also on my own YouTube channel. And again, for everybody who was here tonight, thank you, Dennis, Jennifer, Janet, and I'll see you at the theater.